let's talk about the running back for this Jacksonville Jaguars team. Really the star of the show fantasy-wise this season. Really should be put on a pedestal for what he's done as an undrafted free agent rookie. You already know what I'm going to say. James Robinson out of Illinois State, 22 years old, 5'10", 220, sitting at the RB4 in PPR leagues, 212 attempts, almost 1,000 yards, 4.5 yards per attempt, has 7 touchdowns on the year, has caught 80% of his 53 targets, 310 yards through the air, and 2 receiving touchdowns. And the question always comes up, right? People are hesitant to pull the trigger on James Robinson in dynasty deals and even hesitant early on in the season in a redraft, asking the question, a guy who's an undrafted free agent, right? Is he sticky? Is he a guy that the team is gonna keep around when they go out and bring in a stud from the first round? And to answer this question at this point, we can't look past it. James Robinson is a stud. He should be the rookie of the year. Let's put this into perspective, what he's doing. If we just extrapolate his current stats out for a 16-game season, he's going to finish with 283 carries, just under 1,300 rushing yards. Both of those metrics would be in the top 5, carries and rushing yards, last season. And then 9 touchdowns, 56 receptions, and almost 3 receiving touchdowns, which are all top 10 at the position in 2019. So not only is he a volume monster, he's an efficiency monster. And I went back and looked at some of the notable rookie seasons over the last couple of years. And here's some of the guys that James Robinson is comparable with his current pace and how those seasons went. He's better than guys like Phillip Lindsay, Jordan Howard, just blowing them out of the water. His rookie year, stat-wise, is very similar to guys like Kareem Hunt or Todd Gurley, their rookie seasons. He's pretty much a light version of what 2016 Ezekiel Elliott, who had all this hype, had the draft capital. I mean, James Robinson is doing pretty close to what Zeke did in his first year, 18.7 fantasy points per game, 6th amongst all running backs. I just see no way that Jacksonville can look at James Robinson and want to add anything more into the backfield other than maybe a third down, Chris Thompson, scat back type of guy. But even then, that should be completely fine for James Robinson's fantasy value in 2021. He's the heart and soul of the team every single week right now. And the Jags need to address other positions. So going back to what we just talked about with DJ Chark, Justin Fields coming into this offense potentially. We'll see how that goes QB-wise. Who knows? Maybe they make a move, try to bring Trevor in. But any upgrade of the QB position is only going to help this offense. The upside only gets better for James Robinson if the offense is better. And I got one more point to make on James Robinson. This could be completely just going down narrative street. But from what I've read, Shad Khan, who bought the Jacksonville Jaguars a few years ago, his son has, quote, a passion for analytics, and he leads the analytics department for the Jaguars. If they have any sense of analytics in that front office, they should have no desire to draft a running back with any significant draft capital. They should be fully content on leaving a 22-year-old running back. He has not even been anywhere close to his age apex yet. He should only get better. There's no way they're going to take him out of there. So I'm all in on James Robinson, man. I think he's a locked and loaded stud. Have him as a top 10 dynasty running back. Anybody who's say anything against him is just looking at the draft capital. And they're having take lock because of that. Because you can't look at what he's doing on the field and not say he's a great running back.
I'm with you. I mean, James Robinson has grown on me and a lot of people as the season went on. After those first couple games, I thought, okay, he happened to get the starting job after Fournette was cut, had a lot of volume, had some solid fantasy games. And as the season went on, it was like, like this guy's going to be a fantasy asset all year long, but surely it's going to taper off. Surely at some point, he's going to regress to the mean, but still be valuable this year, and they'll look to bring someone in. But as the season has gone along, there is no reason to believe that the Jaguars need to bring another running back that's going to take significant volume into this backfield. I mean, James Robinson can truly do it all. He's been absolutely incredible, and it shows up on the stat sheet and on film. He just looks fantastic when he's on the field. He's like this highlight flash in the pan for the Jaguars, who are otherwise miserable to watch. And you look at what he's doing, he's 3rd in the NFL in total snaps this season. So he has absolute workhorse potential. You talk about these valuable fantasy running backs, the Zeke's of the world, the Christian McCaffreys, people who do it all. They run, they catch, everything for their team. He's getting the snaps. He's giving you 18 carries a game along with 4 targets a game. Just incredible volume, and he's been fairly efficient with it as well. And like you said about the quarterback, a better quarterback next season and beyond is only going to help James Robinson because he's putting up this crazy season. He's RB4 right now in PPR in terms of total points. That's on a team that is 24th in yards per game and 27th in points per game. So imagine James Robinson on an offense that's better, who actually has more scoring opportunities and a better quarterback. The sky's the limit for this guy. So I'm with you. I think James Robinson is the future for Jacksonville's backfield. And you look at the Jaguars, this is a little bit of narrative street, but they draft Leonard Fournette several years back as a top 5 pick. Things didn't really pan out. He had a few really good years in Jacksonville, but here they are several years later with James Robinson, who was undrafted, and he's a special player for sure, but an undrafted guy putting up better production than Fournette did in any of his years in Jacksonville as an undrafted guy when Fournette was a top 5 pick should just point the Jaguars to address other needs. Obviously, the quarterback position is going to be a need, but you said at the O-line and the defense as well. So I'm with you. James Robinson, I really think is their future. He's been an absolute highlight this season, and I think he has as good of a case for the fantasy football MVP than anybody because you got someone for free who is a top 5 running back right now. That's almost absolutely unheard of. If you had James Robinson, if you were the person that scooped him up, you probably have a pretty good shot of being in the playoffs right now, and he's going to be someone you can keep plugging in to get you to that title.